welcome to Therapeeze. Today I am with Pauline. Pauline is from Smell the Roses. So Pauline, can you tell us a bit about you and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Pauline, and as you can hear from my accent, I'm originally from Belfast in Northern Ireland, and then I moved to Cardiff to study at the Welsh College of Music and Drama, and I trained as a secondary school drama teacher. And then I moved up to the Northeast, in 1997, so quite a while ago now, for a teaching job. And I've not taught for quite a long time now, but yeah, so I'm in Whitley Bay, and I run Smell the Roses.
So what made you leave teaching, I suppose, is the question.
What would make me stay in teaching? I basically just decided it wasn't for me anymore. I was teaching drama in a secondary school, and they hadn't had drama in the school before, so it was a nightmare.
What led up to start and Meet the Roses? Where did that inspiration come from? Smell the Roses.
Yeah, it's a bit personal, so I don't want to share too much of personal detail. But basically, through my own situation as a mum, dealing with a child with anxiety, and then also seeing friends as well who were really struggling, and their children have different situations going on, but the mums were all struggling in the same way. And there was actually 3 years ago, my husband took my daughter down to his parents for 5 days, just so that during some holidays I could have a bit of a break to myself. And it was amazing to just be on my own for the week, and I just didn't have to cook for anyone, clean for anyone. I could get up when I wanted, go to bed when I wanted, watch what I wanted on the telly when I wanted.
Sounds heaven.
It really was. But I also met up with a couple of those friends that week, and on the Friday I was hanging up my washing on my pulley, which I love, and I was just reflecting on my weeks. They were coming back that day, and I was like, oh, I've had such a lovely week. It's been so nice to just chill and do what I want. And then I was thinking about my friends, and I was just thinking, oh, how do I give this to them? I'd love to give this to them. And then this sentence popped into my head: I need to open a respite centre for mums with children with additional needs. And I was like, what? I actually froze to the spot. And I stood there thinking, yeah, I think I need to do that. And at the time I was doing youth work. So I've always worked with teenagers. And so then but in a voluntary capacity, and I was just thinking, like, how do I do this? How do I go about this? And it wasn't until a couple of weeks later I was talking to someone, and I shared the idea with her, and she said, you need to go home and tell your husband about this, and talk to him about this, because this is big and I think it's a great idea. So then I talked to someone else a couple of weeks later, and she said, forget about the respite centre. What can you offer in 6 months? So that's then when I thought about the days, and then the retreat days kind of started evolving from there.
Oh, brilliant. So tell us about your role and what Smell the Roses offers.
Yeah, so I obviously come up with the idea. I started it, so that was 3 years ago. I then decided to set it up as a charity through advice, and we do retreat days, and it's retreat with a capital T, because it's all about retreating the mums. And yeah, so it's for mums and female carers who have children with additional needs. And that, like, our definition of additional needs is anything, and also any age as well. So we don't want to exclude on age or condition.
Oh, brilliant.
And the days, well, this was pre-COVID, when we could actually see each other face to face, was basically first thing in the morning, 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10, the mums would arrive for breakfast. The breakfast was set up for them, and that would just be like a buffet breakfast where they could sit and chat to each other, get to know the people that were there. And then 10 to 12, we had different rooms set up. So we had peer support room, where we always had someone in there as well who's a volunteer who could sit and chat to them, but they could sit and chat to each other as well about their situations. We had a quiet room, which I was really strict about. If anyone's in there, it's because they want to be quiet, so there's no talking. And that room was well used.
I can imagine.
So that's where they went when they wanted to read, when they wanted to sleep, which they did. Listen to music. We had mindfulness colouring in books in there, and they used those as well. And then we had a pamper room. So we always had some kind of pamper on, manicure, oh, I've forgotten the name of it now. Tattooing, henna tattooing.
Henna tattooing.
Yes. And things like that in the pamper room. And then we would have a craft creative room. So we've had things like a chocolatier came and did some chocolate molding with us, crocheting, which I was rubbish at. We've done artwork, we've done creative writing, we've done all sorts of different things. And then we have a wellbeing coordinator called Flo Foster, and she's a trained sports massage therapist. Mm-hmm. So she has what we call Flo Snug, and she creates this space that we kind of almost call like a womb room, because it's just so cozy and warm and comfortable and amazing. And she brings her massage chair, and she'll do hot stone massage, and the mums just go in there and lie on the floor on the bean bags with blankets around them, eating the chocolates, drinking their tea and coffee, and they just pour their hearts out to Flo. So it's really quite an amazing space. So that's the morning between 10 and 12, and then we have lunch between 12 and 1. And then between 1 and 2, whatever they didn't manage to do in the morning, they've got the chance to do in the afternoon. Oh. And then from 2 to half 2, Flo will do what we call wake up, shake up, which is like a relaxation exercise, but to help them rejuvenate before they go home as well, so they're not completely chilled going home. Yeah. And then they go home about half 2, and then we clear up.
And what kind of feedback have you got from mums about the days?
Gosh, yeah. Amazing. So we had one mum, I think she came to the second one, and she was telling us at lunchtime that she always had pain in her shoulders and in her neck. And after the first day, she went home, and the next day she woke up and there was no pain. And she couldn't believe how much tension she'd been carrying until she'd come to our day.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
And there was another mum who was really, really struggling. This her first day. I was actually quite shocked that she managed to come because of her situation. And she arrived just in tears, with just looking exhausted. She really looked awful. And I kind of took her out of the room initially just to kind of show her where everything was, just to help her kind of decompress a wee bit before we started.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the day, she had had her eye makeup done, and I was clearing up the chocolate room, and we were just chatting, and I said, I love your eye makeup, it's so lovely. And she said, I've always worn makeup until about 10 years ago, and I've just not had time, I've just not been able to. And she said, but I realized today how much I love it, and so I'm going to go home and I'm going to start wearing makeup for me again. And I was like, oh, that's so amazing. But actually, when I looked at her, she did not look like the same person who arrived in the morning. She looked completely different. And that's what actually really surprised me, was the physical difference in her when she left.
Yeah.
Because she was leaving smiling as well. And as we were kind of chatting at the end of the day, we always have a kind of breakdown session with all the volunteers and everyone who's there. And I just, I asked them about that, and they all said they'd all noticed the same thing. And I said, the only way I can kind of describe it is that she looked like herself as she left. And they all agreed. And I just hadn't realized we would have that kind of impact on someone in one day.
That's amazing. It just shows how, with the right support and activities, and how mums and families can really be supported to feel different about themselves, and just feel a bit more like themselves. Because as a mum, you do commit yourself to looking after your children, but particularly with children with additional needs, there's obviously more of a demand there for your time. So that's amazing. So obviously this year we've had coronavirus, and so there's been lots of changes. So how have you transformed Smell the Roses to be able to still support the families through lockdown?
Yeah, so we just started the days in January 2019, and they were monthly. So we'd only really done about 12 days in total before lockdown. So, we were really new, but I was really keen that we wouldn't stop, so that we would try and offer something. So we created a private Facebook group to start off with. And the people who had attended, so whether a volunteer, a workshop leader, anyone who had attended at all, a mum, could join that Facebook page, that private group. And so then I was kind of like, but at this, we're about peer support. We're not a support group as such. We just provide the space. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, how do we continue to do what we've been doing, but virtually? So then people started offering to do workshops. And I was really hoping that would happen, because that's what I wanted to do. So, so then Ali, who's up in Edinburgh, she does a few hours a week for us administration work. And so she started contacting some of the people who had been doing workshops, and they were all really keen to do something. So we had Flo on a Tuesday morning from her house up in Northumberland, doing like a well-being talk every Tuesday morning. And then on a Thursday evening, we had a virtual kind of join-in workshop. Wax melting, baking, breathing techniques, well-being journaling, all sorts of origami. We've done all sorts of different things since about the end of March, beginning of April. And then we were thinking, okay, that was kind of like our crisis response. Mm-hmm. Now that it looks like we're going to be here a while, how are we going to move forward? Because at the moment, we're not a face-to-face charity, we're an online charity. So what do? So we've had to create a new model, yeah. An online model like everyone else. So now we have a YouTube channel, and we are doing weekly kind of instructional videos. So Flo is going to do fortnightly, and then the in-between week we're going to have the workshop people, so the craft and the pamper, we'll do like a short 15-20 minute kind of instructional craft pampered type video that we can put on the YouTube channel. And then also we're doing these interviews as well with organisations, with charities, and we'll do monthly interviews and we'll put those on as well. And then for those who are in the private Facebook group, we're also going to do a mini morning Zoom retreat once a month. So where we were doing them face-to-face, we're now going to do them online. So they're starting in November. And we're starting with doing a sea glass window decoration making. And you're coming as well.
I am.
You're going to be talking about understanding anxiety cycles.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that as well. And Flo is going to be doing a breathing exercise as well. So that's what we're doing next month. So that's kind of what we're moving to with our virtual model.
And how have you felt the mums responded to the change, obviously with coronavirus? How have they responded with the online model that you've used?
I think they really appreciated it.
Yeah.
I think initially I just wasn't sure what we were going to be able to offer and what we were going to be, because what we do is so hands-on and face-to-face. And particularly around, because to me, I really wanted to treat the mums by cooking for them. And obviously we can't do that. So yeah, I just kind of, so basically the mums, we set up the group and then they joined. And then we started thinking about, initially it was like, you're going to have to give us a wee bit of time to plan this and work this out, but we'll get back to you as soon as we can, but know that we're here if you need us.
Yeah.
So then we just kind of had to leave things for a couple of weeks until we'd actually worked it out. And then once we started telling them what we were doing, they, like one of the mums would set her alarm every Tuesday morning for Flo's talk. And she would make sure that she was there for 9 o'clock every week and interacting with Flo because she was doing a Facebook Live. And the mums have just really appreciated it. We've also been able to send them a little hand cream gift because obviously we're all using hand sanitizer and our hands are all really cracked.
Yes.
So we just thought some nice rose smelling, so they can actually smell the roses.
I like that. It's a good idea.
So they really appreciated that. And then before the more current restrictions at the beginning of September, we managed to do a kind of socially distant on the beach fish and chips lunch where we were actually able to provide lunch for them. And then the following week we went into further restrictions, so we wouldn't have been able to do it the following week. But we kind of had small groups of 6 kind of along the coast, and I couldn't actually go because my daughter had a COVID test the day before because she had a high temperature. So I missed that, my only chance to actually get to see anyone.
There's been so many changes in the Northeast, hasn't there, particularly with rules and lockdown, that it's you've constantly got to keep up to date with it all to be able to keep supporting people effectively, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the plans moving forward? What's in store the next coming up for Smell the Roses?
Yeah, so next month obviously we're starting the monthly virtual Zooms, and so we've got November sorted, December's nearly there. We're going to do a Christmas theme obviously, and then from next year we're kind of hoping to expand the charity as well, which just feels a bit mad in this current climate that we're able to think about starting a new group somewhere else in the country. So yeah, we're kind of looking to hopefully open up maybe 1 or 2 more groups in the next year as well, somewhere in England. We've got a couple of ideas at the moment. So and then we'll see if we can get the funding to maybe employ someone in the next year as well. Yeah.
all busy.
Yes, very much.
So for anyone watching this, Pauline, how do they get in touch with you? Where can they find you?
I think basically go to the website because all the kind of social media links are on there, and that's the easiest place to go to. So that's www.smelltheroses.org.uk. And if you go there, then you'll be able to find us and find our Facebook page and Twitter and the YouTube channel as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time.
It's been really lovely to talk to you.
It's been lovely to find out everything about Smell the Roses. I've learnt so much, and it sounds like such a, from me working with families and working with parents and working with the children, it's such a needed support service for families and mums, because the mums the stress of having children with additional needs does impact on the whole family unit. And that's one of the reasons kind of looking at Therapeeze, that there's the whole aspect of supporting the whole family and not just the child, which is often quite happens in services, because that needs there. And Smell the Roses, it sounds like I want to come. That chocolate, the chocolate sound is going to attract me, definitely, when we're allowed.
Yes.
So thank you very much. And everybody, if you want to go and pop over to the website, Pauline, I'm sure she'll be happy to help if you get in touch with him. So thank you very much, Pauline.